Hi, my name is Sarah, and I just wanted to tell you what I learned about buyer's agent agreements based on my experience working with an exclusive buyer's agent for my recent home purchase in Colorado. The brokerage I chose is a member of both the National and the Colorado Associations of Exclusive Buyer's Agents. Here's what I learned. If you're working with a buyer's agent in Colorado, you will probably be asked to sign a buyer's agent agreement. This form has been approved by the Colorado Real Estate Commission. In other words, most of it was not written by your buyer's agent. And I say most of it because your agent can add provisions and cross things out. Signing the buyer's agent agreement is the real estate equivalent of going steady. Your buyer's agent agrees to do the best job for you and give you what you need, and in return you agree to work only with your agent so that in the end, when you finally buy a house, your agent will get paid. What is included in the buyer's agent agreement? This agreement has several sections. The first three sections set the date, the type of representation, buyer agency, and what kind of firm you will be working with. Next, it defines the terms that are included in the agreement, including who is the broker, what is the property, who is the buyer. The services and duties of a buyer's agent are defined, and this section I think is particularly interesting. Unofficially, it explains that the broker must look out for the buyer. Officially, it says the buyer's agent's job is promoting the interests of the buyer with the utmost good faith, loyalty, and fidelity. For example, if the broker knows something bad, or officially it says adverse material facts, the broker has to tell the buyer. Also, the broker must submit their work on time, and they're not allowed to reveal your secrets to the seller. So, for example, if you are willing to pay more than you offered, they're not allowed to tell the seller that there's more money on the table. Next, it explains how the buyer agent gets paid, and there are several options outlined in the agreement: success fee, hourly fee, and flat fee. And any of these arrangements can also include a retainer fee, which is usually deducted from the buyer agent's fee at closing. The most common type of fee is the success fee, and this means if you successfully buy a home, the agent gets paid. This is generally a percentage of the purchase price of the home, and it's only paid if you actually buy the house. So, for example, 2.8% of the purchase price. Now, that 2.8% is built in for the buyer agent side, and there's typically about the same amount also built into the price of the home to cover the seller's agent's fees. Who pays the buyer's agent? And again, there are several options. The buyer pays, the listing broker or the seller pays, or the buyer pays whatever the seller doesn't cover. The most common option is that the seller or the listing brokerage pays, and that was the option checked in my contract. However, it is important to keep in mind that all agent fees are built in to the price of the home for sale. So even though technically speaking the seller pays, all fees are typically included in the total market value of your home, or of the home for sale. Nobody works for free, and both the buyer and the seller are actually invested in their own agent's fees because those fees are included in the price of the home. It's just that the buyer and sellers typically don't have out-of-pocket costs at closing. Total out-of-pocket costs at closing tend to be relatively low because of how loans are structured. The rest of the agreement is pretty typical legal jargon: no discrimination, what to do in case of a conflict, and that you can't modify the contract. You should ask your agent how the contract can be terminated. It also has a section that allows for additional provisions, meaning they're not standard and your agent probably added them. Our agent added a provision that says that we could terminate the agreement at any time with no penalties. And I thought that was really unusual, and because of it, I didn't have the usual twinge of, I hope I didn't sign my firstborn away in this agreement in the fine print somewhere. But remember, this is a legal document, and I am not an attorney. So, I'm just a first-time homebuyer explaining my experience. So if you do have questions about the document, make sure you contact an attorney. I hope this helps you understand what a buyer's agent agreement is, and best of luck. Thank you.